The Vault of Eternal Knowledge stood as the galaxy's most impenetrable fortress, a crystalline structure floating in the void between stars. For 12 million years, the Arxilians had guarded its secrets, technologies that could reshape reality, wisdom that could unlock the mysteries of creation itself. The Vault's security system was a masterpiece of quantum encryption, biological authentication, and psionic barriers that had turned away every species that dared approach. Until the humans arrived. Commander Zethkar of the Arxilian High Guard watched through the observation deck's reinforced transparasteel as the human vessel, a crude boxy thing they called a research frigate, drifted toward the vault. His forearms tensed against the control console, ancient ceremonial scars pulsing with bioluminescent warning patterns across his chitinous skin. "They cannot possibly succeed," whispered his aide Velthra, her voice carrying the harmonic undertones of barely contained panic. "The vault requires simultaneous solutions to 17 different security protocols. The mathematical probability alone—" "I know the statistics," Zethkar cut her off, his compound eyes never leaving the human ship. 1 in 47 trillion. We've run the calculations for eons. The humans had been in the galaxy for less than 2 centuries, a blink of an eye compared to the Arxilians' 12 million year civilization. They were young, reckless, and possessed an irritating tendency to ignore established protocols. When they'd requested access to the vault, the Arxilian Council had laughed, a sound like grinding crystal that had echoed through their sacred chambers for days. "Give them the standard test," the Council had decreed. "Let them fail like all the others. It will teach them humility." Now, as Zethkar watched, he began to suspect they had made a terrible mistake. The human ship deployed what appeared to be a collection of sensor drones, primitive-looking devices that would have embarrassed a first-year Arxilian engineering student. But there was something in the way they moved, a purposeful randomness that made Zethkar's mandibles click nervously. "Sir," Velthra's voice pitched higher, "they're not following any recognizable scanning pattern. They're just wandering around the vault's exterior." Through the communications array, they could hear the humans talking among themselves. Their language was harsh, full of consonants that scraped against Arxilian hearing organs, but the translation matrix worked adequately. "Looks like a massive puzzle box," one voice said. "Jenny, what's your read on the quantum signatures?" "Chaotic, but there's a pattern," replied another voice, female by human standards. "It's like, you know that old joke about the drunk looking for his keys under the streetlight? Because that's where the light is, not where he dropped them," a third voice chimed in, followed by what the translator identified as human laughter. Zethkar felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. The vault's designers had spent millennia perfecting its defenses, creating layer upon layer of complexity that required advanced mathematics, centuries of study, and genetic compatibility with Arxilian neural patterns. How could these creatures possibly understand? "They're deploying more equipment," Velthra reported, her voice now barely a whisper. "But sir, these devices, they're not scanning the security protocols at all." The humans had released what appeared to be a cloud of microscopic machines, nanobots, their crude technology called them. But instead of attacking the vault's defenses directly, they were doing something else entirely. They were examining the space around the vault, mapping quantum fluctuations in areas that seemed completely irrelevant. "Bingo!" The human voice crackled through the comm system. "Found it. The whole security system is a red herring. Look at these gravitational micro-distortions." Zethkar's breathing spiracles seized shut. "No, it couldn't be." "The real lock isn't on the vault," the human continued. "It's in the stellar positioning. The vault moves in a specific pattern relative to those 3 pulsars. Change the orbit by exactly 0.3 degrees, and..." The massive crystalline structure began to unfold like a flower, its petals revealing chambers filled with technology that glowed with the light of captured stars. 12 million years of security, undone in 17 minutes. "Impossible," Velthra breathed. But Zethkar understood now, and the understanding filled him with something between terror and grudging respect. The Arxilians had built their security system like they built everything, with layers of complexity, elegant mathematics, and sophisticated protocols. They had assumed any species capable of reaching the vault would think like them, would approach the problem with the same methodical precision that had guided Arxilian civilization for eons. The humans had done something different. They had looked at the problem and asked not, how do we solve this complex system? But why would someone make it this complex in the first place? It was a fundamentally different way of thinking. Where the Arxilians saw a beautiful mathematical challenge, the humans saw a magic trick. And like all magic tricks, once you stopped looking at what the magician wanted you to see, the solution became obvious. This is Commander Sarah Chen of the UES Curiosity, the human voice announced formally. We've successfully accessed the vault. As agreed, we'll share our findings with the Galactic Council, but first, there was a pause, and when the voice returned, Zethkar could hear the smile in it. We'd like to invite some of your people aboard. We think you might be interested in how we see things. Zethkar stared at the unfolded vault, its secrets now open to beings who had been spacefaring for less time than it took an Arxilian egg to mature. The humans hadn't broken their security system. They had simply ignored it, looked past it, to find the truth hidden behind layers of elegant complexity. Perhaps, he thought, there was more than one kind of intelligence in the galaxy. And perhaps the humans, with their chaotic, intuitive approach to problems, had something to teach even a species that had considered itself the galaxy's greatest puzzle solvers. Prepare a diplomatic shuttle, he told Velthra. It seems we have much to learn about thinking outside the vault.